you want another pint?
No, my God, you have to.
A little pint.
Nah, I've got to be up early.
Oh,
I can't handle booze like you anymore. I was going out on a Sunday night and I was clubbing all night. On the weekends I'd be up till 8, 9 in the morning.
And Liz was always sort of the cool kid. Yeah. Like, admittedly, do you know what I mean? Wouldn't tell her that to her face.
And she was very much the party girl, always the girl who was out the latest, drinking the most, staying up the longest and taking the boundaries as far as they could go, which was brilliant.
Liz was always up for going out.
Yeah, and she actually made you feel she actually made you feel really boring if you didn't want to stay out. Liz did very much kind of have everything that she wanted. She was very confident, she was very popular, she had lots of friends, had a boyfriend, and having a great time really. Everything was going brilliantly.
That was life, this is cool. I didn't actually know what it was initially, and the doctor, when I went with complaints of bleeding when I had any stools, and he did diagnose me with ulcerative colitis after doing a colonoscopy. And initially I wasn't overly worried because they'd given me a drug. I thought that's going to stop the bleeding. I didn't understand the long-term consequences of having a disease. Like it says, like ulcers around the intestine, the large intestine, and these become flared and they bleed. I had what's called total ulcerative colitis, which is all 3 sides, but mine was quite a bad state. And the worst symptoms were the pains, the cramps, which is a spasm in the intestine, and it's like a pain you cannot really explain. After my first flare, and then I split up with my long-term boyfriend.
Like, she was totally devastated, and I think obviously kind of with the normal reasons why you're really upset when you split up with someone, that's one thing, but I think also because of the problems that she was having with her illness and things.
The drug was, by this point, methotrexate, and by this point I was getting depressed on it, and it's just not in my character to suffer with depression or to feel very low on life, but I really did, because I was tired all the time. I was so tired and emotionally struggling. So what I used to do was go up and stay with my parents in Cumbria to get away from it whilst I wasn't feeling well and take time out from everything.
After she was diagnosed down in London, she was obviously on her own and she wasn't getting any better, and she came up here to stay, and our GP saw her and got an appointment within the week to go to see the consultant at the hospital here. But at the end of that first week, she really became quite poorly. It was a hard week, seeing her in such pain and not being able to do anything for her. And anyway, she went to see the consultant, and she was in hospital then for a week.
Yeah, a week.
And she was 2 months with us before she went back down, that she was capable of looking after herself really down in London.
So when I was younger, my parents bought this cottage and later the barn, not far from where I was brought up, 20 minutes down the road. So I'd come up on a Saturday because my mum would be happier that she could keep an eye on me when I wasn't well. This was, and I'd literally just sit here, quiet, either thinking or reading my book. I was very lucky to be able to have a place like this. After being diagnosed, and I was at the Cumbrian hospital, and my specialist mentioned to me, there is this operation where they'd remove your intestine, your large intestine, which was the problem, and you would have a colostomy bag. When that was initially mentioned to me, no, there was absolutely no chance I was ever going to live with a colostomy bag, for one, or anything on me like that. and I rushed into the bathroom crying my eyes out. Didn't want to talk to my mum or dad about it. I said, "This is just not going to happen." I remember talking to my friends on the phone, and they said, "Is that going to happen?" I was like, "No, it's never going to happen. I'll take whatever drugs to stop this. I'm not doing that." And then it wasn't until I met Luke that the idea became more realistic.
Well, the first time I heard about it from a doctor was when a whole team of doctors came round. We were in Whitechapel Hospital, and they suggested that we'd gone through a lot of the options, and a lot of the drugs hadn't worked. So a quite good cure was surgery. It seemed like a really amazing cure for something that had caused so much trouble.
Luke gave me that reassurance that he would still love me for if I had a colostomy bag or the operation, or I'd have a big scar down my tummy, and that someone could still fancy me, because that was what I always used to think before I met Luke. No man on earth would fancy someone with a colostomy bag and or go through that operation with me, because of the experiences of my ex-boyfriend, who kind of got probably a bit bored. I thought, no one's going to go through that, and I wouldn't be the same person.
Because I think he just gave her this amazing amount of strength and courage and confidence.
And then once she had Luke on board, who was prepared to go along with her and support her through surgery, she more or less made the decision. They went to visit the doctors, talked everything through.
She decided that it was definitely, the most positive thing to do.
I was first on the list to go in for the operation. I had to say bye to Mum and Dad, Mum and Luke. I remember getting in the lift and found that that was very difficult, because I didn't, watching them, because I didn't know if I was going to get out of it or not, so it was a bit panicky. And I don't like seeing people upset, like my mum and Luke were trying to be brave-faced. And I'll never forget the lift door shutting and being a bit panicked about it, but I just had to kind of get on with it. So I had this jokey guy who picked me up, who was taking me into the room to get changed and stuff. He was a Scouse, and my parents are Liverpudlians, so he was cracking jokes with me, and all the way, and I was getting into like my gown and everything, and then when they lay me kind of getting ready to be anaesthetised, I remember looking up at the clock, and it was 8 o'clock in the morning, bang on 8 o'clock, which they said which would be when the operation was. And I remember at that point panicking, because I thought, what am I doing? Right, and I thought, I better tell them I don't want to go ahead with this. I'm going to stop. I'm not going ahead with this. This is crazy. What on earth am I doing? I might not wake up. This is just a really bad idea. And done. No, I don't remember anymore.
She's in ICU, and then we go up, and it kind of dawned on us that she wasn't expected to be there.
The epidural that they had inserted into my spine wasn't working, and they had to get it out basically, because I could feel my whole body, and that pain, obviously they don't want you to feel. It was just, ooh, I kind of just wanted to die, because it was just horrible, horrible pain.
She really didn't look very well. She was bluish around the lips, and she was on oxygen. She was in a foil body bag because her temperature was so low. And she was in quite a lot of pain.
On top of the fact you've got to deal with the fact you've been cut open and you've got all of these stitches and you can't really move, and you feel sick, and you can't and you've got no energy, and you can't eat, and you're really worried about eating because it means changing your bag because your bag will fill up, and all of it. You've got to deal with having to keep this bloody stone and this bag clean, and my skin around it was blistered and bleeding because it's so sore, having to put these sticky things on every day. It was just hideous, and at that point I could not see how on earth I was ever going to get through this, or why on earth I'd done it. I always cried about, what have I done? I couldn't see the light at all, no future in this whatsoever. And I have to admit, after 3 months, you end up loving it, because it's weird.
You know, there was never a moment when she was kind of, you know, trying to hide it, when she had the pouch, trying to hide it, or, you know, pretending it wasn't there. She was really open and honest about it.
When I had my colostomy bag, it was on this side, and then you have to put your stoma into that, over that, and your stoma comes through here, and then you wrap that up, and that's your bag. So I would always be quite conscious of what I wore. So I had some classic, like, well, if it was in the summer, which it was, I would wear a lot of dresses. So, I mean, that was a good dress to wear because it was baggy. I think a couple of times I always felt conscious of how unattractive it must look to Luke. This bag, you know, he was just used to it. He just saw it. He knew what it was, and that was it. And I didn't feel unconfident. I felt Luke made me still feel attractive. Always, always. We got the date for my second and last operation, which is amazing that I could do it in 2 operations.
This she saw as being the next stage when she could actually really get back to normal.
So what they were doing was taking they actually, you think that they put it all back inside you, but because it's become contaminated, your stoma, the small intestine, they actually cut that off. They can't use that. And then they connect it back up to my new pouch, which had never had to work before. And they say it takes a couple of years for your new pouch that they've made inside of me to learn how to retain food. But I don't have any pain. So a year on, things are much better. I don't think I intended to get into comedy at all, but it was an event of expressing these things that had happened to me. The good thing about having a colostomy bag is that we're not rude enough to leave and go to the toilet halfway through a conversation, because we just do it there, and they are none the wiser. So this chap is talking about his granny dying, and I'm taking a dump.
When I saw her doing her stand-up, I was blown away. I'm very, very, very impressed.
The comedy's brilliant. It's a lovely way for Liz to be able to tell the world about her experiences.
Entertaining the crowds. What more could you want?
In case you know, I've been nattering for a while, and I've taken far too much of a dump, and I've been to the toilet, right? And suddenly I felt like a hot feeling in my leg. I was leaking, my bag was leaking. My life now is so much better, and I'm only sad for the people that are scared of the surgery or don't have the people like I had, like my mum, to care for me, and Luke to still love me, and the friends to still have the laughs with me.
I think Liz and Luke are going for the
babies and live happily ever after, basically.
Yeah.
We've talked
I'm
about
not allowed
you've
to
never
talk.
ever mentioned marriage, ever. Except for all the time. So
Yeah, I'm
you
not.
had your chance, leap year. Chance
Yeah,
to,
Luke's expecting me to
propose.
propose.
Yeah, looking to the future, I can only see a happy, rosy time for us both. Yeah, looking forward to that.
I think it's taught Liz just what actually is really important in life. Your family, your friends, your health.
The condition has made her kind of reassess life and realise what's important, and I think she's really found that.
No, I think she was never going to let something like this stop her, which is a big kind of, clue to the sort of person Liz is.
I've got scars running all over me. I can't wait till the summer and I get my bikini out. I'm like, yeah.
I'm so proud of her. She's amazing.
Having that surgery was the best decision I ever made. But to make it and plan it because of Luke has changed my life. Anyhow, short and sweet, my name is Liz Richardson. Thank you very much.